Good morning. We get up around 5 of 6. It's about 6:15 now. And, well, we're back up at the bear box making breakfast. So we've got 12 ounces of water warming up for cocoa. It should be warm water, not boiling water. And we'll actually drink the cocoa in this cup, which is part of an old SIG fuel can that I cut down and put a lip ring on from Tinny and then built a koozie for. We're carrying that somewhat redundantly because we also have the 16-ounce Nalgene bottle, but that does seem to be working out. So when we make the cocoa, we'll actually make it in here, and then that'll free up the pot for having our granola. So we did actually use the bear box. It's there, why not? So far as I can see, it does not have any like drainage holes at the bottom, so there's no way for mice to get in, and everything was unmolested. That can be a problem with bear boxes. Let's see. It was a pleasant night. There were some small critters, it sounds like, scurrying about the hammock, which made me nervous early on. Don't want something chewing a hole in my pack, which was on the ground under the hammock, or dragging away one of my shoes. But nothing happened. It worked out fine. I slept solidly from 11 to 4, which is pretty good for me. And fitfully before and after that. Temperature about 60 degrees this morning. Skies look pretty clear from what I can see. And so another fine day of hiking. The forecast is for good weather, although just a little warmer than yesterday, actually getting close to 90. Just one mountain today. We'll look at the map in a bit. All right. Another fine day of hiking. Here we are at the trail map again. I'll go over today's itinerary. So we are at Stewart Brook campsite. And we're going to continue our way down. We have a small summit at Stowe Mountain. And I think this is going to be pretty uneventful and not too strenuous. Down to Route 26. We have a road walk, I believe that's 6/10 of a mile to the parking area. And then we make our way in and ascend Puzzle Mountain. 3142, I believe it says. I have my contacts in, so I can't read that well. And then after summiting Puzzle Mountain, down to Stewart Campsite, where there have been reports that water is problematic. We'll see. We cross the Bear River down here near the road, and we'll make sure we fill up there. So at least we'll have some water when we get to camp. We won't die of thirst. There's a major brook crossing early the next morning, so we should be able to tank up again there. Worst comes to worst. So that's 10.66 miles. Should take about 7 hours altogether. So, we're taking a break, and here and there somewhere around 3 o'clock maybe to get to camp, which is a nice early hour relative to yesterday. So it's just about 7:45, and we are ready to start walking. Doing the Hiker's 360. Tree huggers are down, nothing else lying on the ground. Hiking poles behind me. Pretty sure we won't forget those. Still looks like wonderful weather. And off we go. So this is the water source for Sergeant Brook campsite. I don't think I showed this before. And, well, there's water here now. I got water out of that pool right there. But this is kind of on par with Slide Mountain in that I wouldn't have a lot of confidence that in drier weather there'd be water here. So the sign at the start of the Sergeant Brook campsite side trail is telling us that it's 5.4 miles to Route 26. So that pretty much will do the morning. So it's just a couple minutes before 10 and we've come to the side trail to the Bald Mountain campsite. There's a very nice stream here, certainly better than Slide or Sergeant campsites. No indication of how far it is, but we're out here for an adventure, so we'll go take a look. Well, this tent site has a little map to orient you, which is a pleasant change of pace. Like all of the tent sites, campsites we've seen on the Grafton Trail, it has a designated kitchen area up there with a bear box, and this one has 2 tent pads and a privy. Neither tent pad offers any hope of setting a hammock up over the tent pad. Perfectly fine for tents, of course. The forest in this area is relatively open. The canopy is not too bad, or the understory is not too bad. So setting up a hammock somewhere in these woods is probably doable. Okay, so we took a little break, and it's now 10 minutes after 10. So we've got 1.8 miles, minus 621 feet, excuse me. A little over an hour down to Route 26. The trail guide has lots of mention of woods roads and snowmobile trails, so I'm expecting pretty easy footing. We'll hope that pans out. So this is the same brook that goes past the Bald Mountain tent site. The trail's been more or less following it down the hill. So if you're doing this trail counterclockwise and this stream is dry, then it's going to be dry up at the tent site as well. So best make other arrangements. There does seem to be lots of potential spots for stealth camping along this stream, so maybe the best course of action would be to camp around the last place where you can get water from here. This is the 3rd time we're crossing, and I think there's at least one more crossing. As the trail guide promises, you come out onto a snowmobile trail. It's actually right after the last crossing of that brook that you followed all the way down from the Bald campsite. So that's the way we came. We came from up there. And, well, there really wasn't good marking, but there wasn't any other way to go. So we followed the snowmobile trail. The snowmobile trail is well marked. Down to here where there's kind of an intersection. And the guide is pretty adamant that you should stay on the snowmobile trail, and the signage is pretty clear that the snowmobile trail goes off into the deep dark woods that way. I'm taking this blue paint here to be a trail marker, and looking around this way. This is, you know, your old backpacker's trick. If the blazing going in your direction doesn't help you, the blazing going the other direction sometimes will, and that blue blaze there is obviously aimed to be seen people coming down the snowmobile trail. So that's the way we're gonna go. We're pretty sure it's okay. Well, we got to the Bear River Bridge at about 11 o'clock, and I spent about 10 minutes filtering some water just to top off, since it's possible there won't be water at the next campsite. And now we're at Route 26, just behind me, and we have about a 20-minute road walk to pick up the trail again. And well, as I've said before, I don't like using the hiking poles on pavement, so I'm going to stash the poles. So it's a little after 11:30. And we're at the other parking lot. There are two cars here, both with main plates. Not the other parking lot. Well, I guess it is the other parking lot, if you count the one where I parked as the first parking lot. Anyway, the trail is right behind me. So we're headed up Puzzle Mountain. It's a little over 3 miles, and it should take a little under 3 hours. Elevation gain about 2,200 feet. We're about 1 hour into our 2.5, 3 hour ascent, Puzzle Mountain. And I'm sitting on a rock taking a break. Actually, it's been a pretty moderate ascent, and so for the most part I could just, you know, moderate my pace and just keep walking at a steady pace, without getting out of breath and sweating too profusely. But I figured it's a good idea to take a break. I have, trip reports I've read have complained about the, or watched, complained about the ascent of Puzzle Mountain, so maybe it gets worse, or maybe some people would prefer just a full-on assault of the mountain and don't do as well with a more gradual climb. But I'm finding it not too bad. It's about 5 minutes of 2, so we're just under 2.5 hours into our ascent of Puzzle Mountain. And I thought we were at the top about 10 minutes ago when I got here. I've been resting, but there's no sign, and so I'm gonna guess that the top is actually over there. But while we're at this false summit, I thought we'd take a look around in case the views aren't so good from the real summit. That can't happen. So I think right over that way is Long Mountain. Well, we'll be going up tomorrow. Not much to it. And those are the bald pates. There. And it's real misty today, so it's kind of hard to see, but I can just, if I squint right, make out what I think is Grafton Notch. to the left of that big slide area, and to the right of the big slide area. The peak to the left of the big slide area is Old Speck, which I can remember the name of today, and then to the left of that must be Sunday River Whitecap, and some other knobs we went over. And just for reference, there's the Sunday River ski area. So can't really see into the whites. That range, the furthest range right there is the Mahoosics, I'm pretty sure. So there's a nice breeze up here, plenty of sunshine. We're anxious to get to the real top and take a longer break. Well, apparently there just was no sign. That was the southwest summit of Puzzle Mountain, 3/10 of a mile back where we were. So we didn't get our well-deserved break, and I don't know, I guess we'll go on to the shelter, which is what? 2.7 miles to Stewart Campsite. And this is the Upper Spur Trail Junction. So a day in the life of your backpacker. Stuff happens. So we are at Stewart Campsite. We arrived a little before 3 o'clock, which is about what I would have expected based on what my trail guide says, which is that it was 1.3 miles or 39 minutes, and we left that last sign at about 20 after, so, you know, that worked out well. So this place is actually a dump. It does have a pretty. It has no bear box. Not that I've just come to expect a bear box, because they've been on the other campsites in this section of trail. So it's just one thing that makes me start to wonder. I'm not sure how many tent pads it has. It has at least one and maybe two that have been clearly washed away, and actually they're covered with brush now, making them totally unusable in several respects. There's one decent one way down the hill. Someone out of desperation, I guess, well, probably more than someone, created an unauthorized camping tenting spot that's directly across the trail, the main trail from where the side trail comes in. Just a sign of the deterioration of the facility. And the water is strictly marginal, although if you go back up the main trail, you know, just a couple of minutes, there's you have to kind of bushwhack a little bit in to get to a nice brook, which is what I did. So the water was fine there, although not more than trickling. So there's all those signs of decay and abandonment to some extent, which kind of ties in to, I'm going to have to go back and look at the video of the sign, again, that last set of signs up on Puzzle Mountain, because it said that the Stewart campsite was about 2.7 something, I'm pretty sure, miles away, which is about a mile further than what the trail guide says, which kind of makes me suspicious. Oh, there's one other thing, because this site annoys me, and there's lots of places like this, is this campsite was set up in a place with marginal water, and it requires a fair amount of effort to set up a campsite, even more for a shelter, but yet a mile down the trail, in the direction that I've been traveling, there's a large and abundant stream, featured on many videos and such not, clearly would be a great water source. So what I'm wondering is whether the Stewart campsite is in the process of, or has been, or will be soon, moved from this not very good location to somewhere along a really good water source. So, maybe tomorrow I'll walk that mile and get to that stream and find that there's a lovely campsite that they've just set up, and they for inexplicable reasons left the sign up for this one, so I'd come here to this dump, but that'll be a bummer, but I'm here and I can't risk going all the way down there and find there's nothing there and having to come back. So, and I am set up, although on some sketchy trees. I'm sure they'll hold. So we're in for the night. So it's 3:40 now, 20 to 4. As I said, I have gotten water. Seem to be in pretty good shape. Not feeling as beat as yesterday. So we'll kind of lounge around and do our camp chores at a leisurely pace. So tonight for dinner, we're going to have some Mountain House pasta primavera. And again, this was one of those pro-pack meals that I took out of the Mylar bag and repackaged it because I think it packs much better. Now, when I was putting this in my trail bag, I said, "Oh, look, I didn't realize this is a vegetarian dish." And my wife says, "Well, that's what pasta primavera is, you idiot." Okay, what do I know? So, I started thinking about what I could do to spice this up, or augment it, and what I ended up doing is buying some of that tuna fish that comes in the store unrefrigerated in a envelope of some sort. Unfortunately, I could only find a 5-ounce package, and that's more than I wanted to bring. So, I split that in half and what did I package it up with the air being sucked out? Vacuum sealed it, and so that's in there. We're going to hope that lasted all right, and I'm not going to poison myself. So the instructions say to add boiling water to the meal, so we're going to boil up 14 ounces of water in the pot and then add the meal to the pot, and then unless the tuna fish fails the sniff test, I'll add that in as well, stir it all up, and let it sit for a while in the cozy. So the Mountain House pasta primavera with the added tuna fish, I'm going to call it a great success. It's tasting pretty good. Makes a fine tuna noodle casserole.